In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. 6 days time passed, and God created man, and all was good. So on the seventh day, God rested. The world was perfect. Until one day, a wicked serpent deceived man, and sin entered the world. The fate of the human race, stained with iniquity, changed. However, God fought sin with his abundant grace. We are called to be children of the light, glimmers of hope and igniters of truth. We are the hope for the world, the hope that fights corruption.
Sin and evil have been present since the beginning, since Adam and Eve.
Evil is, in a sense, human choices that go against God.
I think there's been a greater distancing from God, more distractions in our world today. I think families are spending less time together. Less people are attending Mass in recent years. And the more we distance ourselves from God, the more we forget that we're supposed to live for God.
In our society especially, individuals allow sin and evil to occur through relativism.
Now, I was born in 1921. I have lived through what we call now the Great Depression, and then World War II and all the following wars. You had great things that if you could get to them and afford them, you had a wonderful recreation time. That's gone.
Today, in particular, I think especially the availability of media give people more options and more opportunity to sin and give them more sinful choices to make.
It's insidious. It is insidious the way evil comes into the movies and into the music. I will quote Bishop Sheen, who is now deceased but lived. I personally was close to him, and he made this remark: when he gets the newspaper, the only thing he really trusts and reads are the ball scores.
When we sin, it's our free choice to do evil. And even though we freely choose to do evil at times, God can still bring great good out of it.
As I grew older and things of more momentum happened, I realized my first reach was for my prayer. It was part of what I did.
Even though there are certain aspects of today's society that are corrupted and sinful, God is still present in especially people. You can see it every day in just the differences in every single person. So evil has always existed, just like God has always existed.
I think God makes himself present through people most profoundly.
In fact, I think being really poor is people without hope. I just can't imagine living a life, no matter what the conditions around you that you can't control. You are always hopeful when you have faith, but without faith, I just do not know how they continue in the world.
Going to Mass is such a fantastic way to gain the graces needed to guard yourself against making the wrong decisions.
Younger generations, young people, have an exuberance and a joy in the Lord.
I think each individual inspires the world most profoundly through being themselves, and each individual does that differently using his or her talents.
Sacraments are sure signs of God's grace.
Well, the sacraments for me have always been a way to experience God in an extra special and extra real sort of way. It's just a way for God to really reach out his hand and touch you. That's the way I see it.
Just being one's true self and using their gifts and talents for good and to bring joy and to peace to the world. And I think in doing that, you inspire others. It kind of empowers other people to use their talents for good.
St. Paul always talks about that rejoicing in the Lord, and that nothing can take our joy away. Nothing can take the joy of a Christian away.
The most significant prayer is trust. You have to pray to child as a little child. You have to let God know that you will give life your best shot.
The Pope, before Pope Benedict, He's told us to be not afraid to proclaim our faith, to live it.
I have had faith all my life. It's all I've known. It must be part of my fiber, and you don't realize this growing up.
How would Jesus react to this situation? Because he himself was human. He was completely and fully human. He had the same human experiences that we all go through.
And the more we know the truth of God, the more we can really live it. And this year of faith is called for a rediscovery, if you will, of people who are Christians, but maybe they've lost sight of that hope and that joy of becoming a Christian. The Pope is calling us to really proclaim that joy and to rejoice in the wonderful blessings the Lord has given us and to live with a new sense of hope. We can't be a selfish Christian. Those two words can't go together.
The talents and gifts that we've all been given are gifts from God. So they really aren't yours to give in the first place. They're God's to give.
Jesus never called us to mediocrity, or he never set the bar low.
Give it your best shot, but that's with God has the ball and bat. When you keep your goals and your focus where they should be, life is a lot of fun.
Christians will transform the world.
God is not going to give me anything that I cannot handle.
Life is like a voyage on the sea of history, often dark and stormy, a voyage in which we watch for the stars that indicate the route. The true stars of our life are the people who have lived good lives. They are the lights of hope. Certainly Jesus Christ is the true light, the sun that has risen above all the shadows of history. But to reach him, we also need lights close by, people who shine with this light and so guide us along our way.